Good evening, everybody. Teching 101 here alongside my co-anchor, Barry the Brick, who is currently a vampire. Tonight's top story continues to be Dr. Richard Vegapunk, the smartest man in the entire world, hijacks the global Dendenmushi communication network to relay a message that a secret war from 800 years ago is currently ongoing, and the existence of 3 apocalyptic ancient weapons that are going to be used very shortly, causing the world to flood, which will most assuredly kill everyone. We now go to the reaction of the people to the reaction of Vegapunk's message. And that's going to be the next 10 chapters of One Piece, so buckle in. Okay, probably not. Oda's not going to do that. Although, you know, I saw a lot of comments. Not a lot of comments. I don't want to say this was a huge criticism, right? But a lot of people, do you want me to put the glasses back on? I kind of feel like wearing the glasses today. I don't know. I feel like, you know, sometimes I kind of wish I had to wear glasses. Not really, but sometimes it's like, it's kind of cool. I like glasses. I like the aesthetic. Anyway, during reaction piece, when that was going on, I did see some people complaining like, all right, this is too much. Can we just go back to Egghead? Like, we get it, Oda. The whole world is reacting to this. That's great. Listen, I don't understand that criticism in the slightest because I am a world-building, loving guy. All right? Like, if anything, Oda didn't expand enough on the reactions. You know, we didn't see every single character's reaction to this. We didn't see Johnny and Yosaku reacting to this, you know? But he did a pretty damn serviceable job. He showed so many people in the world the culmination of a 27-year-long manga in those chapters, relaying this message to the entire world. Oh, chef's kiss. Beautiful. I will never complain about that part of One Piece for the rest of my life. That was amazing, okay? That is not only that, I'm going to build it up even more. I think, honestly, that is something that most manga can only hope to achieve. A series that has gone on for so long and so much world building and so many characters have been introduced to finally have a series of chapters where just like they're all kind of in it and they're all involved. Oh my God, we could be so lucky to have another series like that. And I don't even know what it would be, really. But anyway, yeah. So, there's also a side story I want to just throw out really quick. And in other news, so the One Piece live action season 2, there was a message released from Oda recently, and there's a bunch of new casting information. Katie Sagle's going to be playing Kureha, so I'm really excited for that. I was going to make a video about that today. That was like right about what I was going to film. But then I looked at the message again that Oda said, and he's like, over the next 3 days, we're going to reveal casting. And it's like, I don't want to make a video about this, and then it turns out that, like, Robin or Chopper's casting is going to be revealed tomorrow. And it's like, so I'm going to wait until after all the casting is revealed. In fact, just like an hour ago, Cobra's actor was revealed, who's going to be playing Cobra in the series. So it's like, I'm going to wait until all of the new casting is revealed, because they might end it off with, maybe they won't, but they might end it off with, like, who's playing Robin. And it's like, I want to, like, you know, just coalesce all that in one video. So we're doing this instead. We're talking about what Oda typically does at the end of every major story arc, and that is cutting over to the world to see what's going on. Now, normally when Oda does this, it's only about 2 chapters, typically. Like, in between the different acts in Wano, we had like 1 or 2 chapters just to see what the Marines are up to and everything like that. But considering we're in the final saga now, I don't think it's going to be limited to 2 chapters. I think it's going to be maybe a little bit longer than that, especially since we just had the entire world reacting to this message, and now we have a chance to see, like, the immediate fallout of that. You know? Like, can you only imagine after hearing this message? Like most of the people in the world, I would say, would take a few hours, if not a day or so, to even process what Vegapunk was just telling them. Some people, like Nojiko, might have the reaction of like, hey, this doesn't really involve me, it doesn't really matter, I'm gonna go tend to my tangerine grove, right? Although, ultimately, it kinda does affect even just regular civilians in One Piece, because if an ancient weapon is used and the entire world floods, you don't got any more tangerine groves, you know? They're all gone, right? So, this is definitely going to affect civilians, and there's going to be, like, a lot of panic, I would imagine. Like, there's no way you could just sweep this under the rug with, like, well, most of the world has acknowledged that this is it. Either try to find a solution or just not care about it. Now, there's going to be mass panic in the world. even if that wasn't Vegapunk's ultimate goal, that's going to happen. So, yeah, I want to see the reaction from the civilians of the world, obviously, to see what they're up to. But I also, we want to see what's happening with the key players in the One Piece world. So, the first name I have on this is Dragon. Is this gonna be the moment, guys? Is this gonna be it? Dragon, very calmly, over at Kamabaka with Ivankov, and Sabo's there now, and everybody's mobilized. All of the generals are there. All of the vice generals were there. We saw them in the last episode of the anime, right? Like Ahiru, and everybody's there, okay. Now, they're gonna do stuff, right? They're gonna actually do stuff now. Dragon is like, all right, we've heard Vegapunk's message. We know about what's going on in the world, and Dragon walks out before the entire Revolutionary Army that he spent nearly 3 decades building up from just a ragtag band of freedom fighters. And he's like, everyone, oh my god, Dragon is saying something. Dragon's gonna do something. I am going to look west. Oh my god! Okay, no, I mean, like, Dragon, I get it. He has to be cautious, all right? Like, this has been a thing that I've discussed multiple times before this when we talk about, like, why didn't Dragon send a group to go save Ginny or something like that? I understand why Dragon is cautious with a lot of things, because you kind of only get one shot at the revolution, you know what I mean? You kind of only got one shot at that. Like, you can liberate some smaller islands and kingdoms all over the world as much as you want, but actually, like, invading Marijois and taking out the Tenryubito, dealing with the God's Knights, now this new factor is involved with Eam that Dragon and Ivankov didn't know about beforehand. So there's like, oh, there's a Shadow King that rules the world. Okay, that throws a wrench in some works. Okay, we need to recalculate for that. Shadow King. All right, gotcha. But yeah, if they invade Marijois and Dragon dies or is captured, Revolutionary Army is not going to be much anymore. And I think Sabo, he would try his best, and a lot of people would follow behind Sabo. There was even a mention that, like, whoa, Sabo's even maybe more popular right now than Dragon, and that might be true, but, like, Dragon is the brains of this operation, right? Dragon's been at this for a very, very long time. So I can understand why in the last couple of years, Dragon, even though he has a very large group and he has a lot of funds at this point, and they have the means, they have great, like, the generals, and they have, pretty strong devil fruit users and stuff like that, and Dragon himself is really powerful. I can understand why Dragon is like, not yet. Not yet, not yet, not yet. He was maybe waiting for the moment to tip the scale, and I think this is the moment to tip the scale. Much of the world is going to be in panic while this is going on, so maybe this is the moment to strike. In fact, I can't really imagine any other time to strike other than now, right? It's like Vegapunk spills the beans about these ancient weapons and the Void Century, as much as he knows about it anyway, and the world's going to be in chaos, and the Tenryubito are going to be kind of also reeling a little bit from the message, and I don't think Dragon really knows anything about what's going on directly with the Gorosei. Like, he wouldn't know that the Gorosei were, knocked back with Joy Boys hockey to Marijois and everything like that. But it might be like, all right, if we're going to do this, it's the time to do this. So I would not be surprised if in these next series of chapters where we cut around the world after we see what's up with the Straw Hats going to Elbaf and all that, we cut over the world and we see Dragon like, all right, we're beginning mobilization. We're doing this. The plan is beginning. We're beginning the revolution. And then we might cut away for like another 50 chapters until we actually see it. But you know what I mean? Like, Dragon needs to start getting shit moving. It's like, all right, everybody, start packing a lunch. We're going on a road trip. All right, like, we're doing it. Right? And it's like, that would be crazy to see that. So that's Dragon. Also, a side thing, because I already made a video about this a couple days ago, the bounties, because a lot of people were like, I don't think the bounties are going to go up at all. I can understand that. I get it. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Oda spins it in a way of, like, Morgans cannot, spread this news, or the Gorosei put a gag order in or something like that. I would understand if the government tried to, like, suppress a lot of the information coming out of Egghead, and so maybe the Straw Hats don't get updated bounties. But I'm simply saying this not from, like, the in-story explanation. I'm saying this more from, like, a real-world, like, editor Shueisha perspective. perspective, being like, hey, Final Saga, we just had this crazy arc in Egghead where Luffy was fighting against the Gorosei. You're going to increase the bounties, right, Oda? And Oda might be like, I don't know, but this might be a thing where it's like, come on, increase the bounties, come on, everybody loves it. It'd be like, all right, maybe I will. So I don't know, it's kind of up in the air right now, for my opinion, on like whether or not the bounties are going to go up or not. With Shanks right now, huh? What's going on with Shanks? Well, Shanks was leaving Elbaf. Unless, I don't know, after the whole dealing with Eustace Kid, he decided to stick around for a little bit. Like, maybe he's, like, waiting for the Straw Hats at Elbaf. He's like, hey, we were gonna leave, but we decided to hang out anyway. I think they are gone. I don't think that Luffy and the Straw Hats are going to encounter Shanks quite yet. Although Shanks probably left a message behind, I would imagine. You know, he was hanging out with old friends at Elbaf, but I can also imagine him leaving a letter or something for Luffy and be like, hey, Luffy, welcome to Elbaf. Congrats for making it this far. You are, on your way to being a great pirate, you're emperor and everything like that, but, I was an emperor first. Let's not forget that. I'm Shanks after all. Anyway, and then maybe Shanks could relay some information about what's going on and stuff like that. Nothing like Shanks would give Luffy an order or like, hey, Luffy, you need to deal with Blackbeard or something. Nothing like that, but he would just be like, hey, Luffy, yada, yada, yada. Maybe it might set up like, hey, Luffy, I'm going to be waiting for you here. I will be here. I will be at Lodestar waiting for you. That's where I'm going to be at. Lodestar is probably the next island after Elbaf, which is the last island that the log post points to. Shanks would probably be like, yeah, I'll wait for you there, and then, I'll see you then, okay? And then that might be setting up later, and then while that is being set up, then we get all of Elbaf arc and what's going on with Odin and Loki and all the characters there. Like Dory and Broggy are probably going to be very relevant and explain some stuff. How did their duel end? Like, yeah, nobody's yet to bring that up, by the way. No one's brought up, like, I understand they're just escaping Egghead and everything, but Usopp is like, what are you guys doing here? Who won the duel? I think the most likely thing with that is it's going to be like Dory and Broggy are just going to be like, oh, we just put it on hold for right now. None of us really won, but we're going to just put it on hold while we're dealing with this. And then after this is all taken care of, then we're going to go back and finish the duel proper. And Usopp will be like, oh, so cool. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't think Oda's just going to be like, oh, yeah, Dory won. Yeah, I did. And then that's the end of that plot line. No, I think it's going to be a thing where they just postponed it, considering there's some crazy shit going on in the world right now. Okay, Law is definitely still alive. We know that for certain. He escaped with Beppo, so he's going off. I like to think they were either going to Zoe or the Cross Guild, and I made a whole video about this, so I'm not going to go way too into it. But yeah, I think getting a little bit of a catch-up on what's happening with Law and Beppo, and Law mourning the loss of his hat, I think is definitely necessary. Law makes a little tombstone for his hat and puts it, wherever they go to, and just, mourn the loss of his hat. And it's going to be hard to mourn the loss of his hat when he can't even take off his hat to mourn. It's going to be tough, but I think Law is going to be able to get over this. They've went through some tough times beforehand, but this is the toughest one, right? Going to Zoe makes sense because Beppo is obviously a mink. Ending up with the Cross Guild, I think, would also fit because Law has no connection with the Cross Guild in terms of, like, Crocodile, Mihawk, or Buggy. So it's not like he's like, oh, we're enemies or something like that. So honestly, like, if he showed up at the Cross Guild, I could see Crocodile and Mihawk being like, hey, this is Trafalgar Law. This is a guy that has 3 billion berries. This guy's really strong. Hey, do you want to be the 4th member of the Generals of the Cross Guild? You'd be number 3. You'd be number 3, but technically you're number 4, because it goes, well, in terms of bounty rankings, it actually goes Mihawk, then Buggy, then Crocodile. And if Law joined, it would go Mihawk, Buggy, Law, then Crocodile. Crocodile's not even at 2 billion right now. The government's sleeping on Crocodile, I'll tell you what. But no, like, I could see that. I mean, Law joins up. He doesn't have a crew anymore. His crew's gone. All he has is Beppo, which is like, okay, good, like 60% of his crew's fighting power, sure. But still, like, joining up with the Cross Guild and like, all right, I guess yeah, because why would Law not want to join up with them? I mean, I guess like generic pride as a pirate, like, oh, I don't want to take orders. I'm the captain. I don't want to take orders from this clown. But then again, remember, like, when Law and everybody were looking at the newspaper of the Cross Guild as they were leaving Wano, Law was like, this clown, Buggy. You got to watch out for this guy. He's pretty strong. And then Luffy was like, no, he's an idiot. Trust me. You haven't met him. I have. And Law was like, I don't know, Luffy. I don't know. This guy. So wouldn't it be hilarious? I think just inherently funny if Law joins up with the Cross Guild and actually buys into Buggy's grandioseness, and actually is just like, you know what? You're a guy I could understand this guy. You know what? I'll follow orders from this guy for a little while. He's earned my respect. It would be an interesting dynamic, if nothing else, right? And then also Beppo can hang out with Richie, the lion. I think that would be funny. I think that would work, okay? I mean, for a while there, I wanted them to go to Zoe, but, like, honestly, I kind of want Law to join the circus right now. I think that'd be really funny. Going along with the Cross Guild, they have their new ship, right? So, honestly, I could see this happening where they're sailing on the ship and Crocodile, like, maybe Mihawk slices off the figurehead of, like, the I don't know, the going buggy or whatever that thing is going to be called. Like, he slices off the figurehead. Like, I am not sailing on a ship with a figurehead like this. It's not happening, right? And they're sailing, and then maybe that's when they run into Beppo and Law floating in the ocean, like, So, maybe there's something like that. Who knows? We'll see what happens. People wanted to know about Boa. What was happening with Boa Hancock and stuff after the attack on Amazon Lily. So yeah, Blackbeard attacked Amazon Lily. Rayleigh and Shocky were there for a little while, but they did go back to Sabaody because we saw Rayleigh and Shocky during the message. They were back at Sabaody, back at the rip-off bar where Rayleigh was getting wicked drunk and Shocky was like putting a blanket over him, right? So they've obviously left Amazon Lily. Boa, I feel like, would have to leave the island right now, especially after what the government and Blackbeard did. Like, not just the Marines trying to bring her in, but also Blackbeard taking advantage of the warlord system being abolished and also showing up. And, like, a big chunk of the mountain was sliced apart and the Seraphim attacked and everything. And also, I feel like Boa is going to be pretty pissed off that the government used her DNA to make a clone of her, okay? Like, especially since Boa and her sister's backstories of being imprisoned at Marijois and, being fucking tortured by the Tenryubito and everything like that. I think she's going to be infuriated at what they did and treat the Seraphim as like they are abominations or something. And like she has to leave the island because if she stays there, the government's just going to attack again eventually. Probably not right away, but eventually they're going to make a move. And they have more Seraphim. They have a Doflamingo Seraphim. They have a Crocodile Seraphim. They have a Moria Seraphim. So it's like, you know what? Okay, I think Boa is going to get the Kuja pirates together, get her two sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold, get the Hawk. There is a Hawk and then the Panther that don't really show up that often, but they are there. And they're going to go and they're going to mobilize Rin and everybody, all of the Kuja pirates are going to get off there. Maybe Margaret too. Margaret, I don't think she was a member of the Kuja pirates back 2 years ago, but I think she is now. So like Margaret and stuff, the Kuja that found Luffy initially, like they're all going to get on the ship and they're going to go to the New World and they're going to get involved in shit right now. So look forward to that. I think it's going to be really fun to see Boa and everybody. Over at Hachinosu, we got a bunch of shit going on. So I would like to see Moria. Like, what happened with Moria? Did Moria and Perona escape? I'm assuming they did, but we never really got... It was kind of a cliffhanger left on that, so it'd be nice to see what happened with them. I want to see Don Krieg and Geen. Maybe not, like, a full-focused, like, series of pages, but, like, we cut over to Hachinosu, and Garp is, like, chained up and, like, half-frozen. I don't think Garp is dead. Not throwing out the idea that Garp won't die at some point, like, later in the story. In fact, I could see some kind of, like, messed up version of like reversed Rogers execution where Garp is the one about to be executed or whatever. And the ultimate goal, wasn't it, for them to turn Garp over to the Cross Guild? So the Cross Guild, so Buggy, Mihawk, and Crocodile might be on their way on the going buggy over to Hachinosu right now to collect Garp, and Mihawk will like execute him or some shit. And on the way they can run into Law and Beppo or whatever, and then they all get to Hachinosu, and then Law does have a connection with Hachinosu because of the Rocky Port incident, which is hesitant to see what Blackbeard would actually, because Blackbeard, when they fought, was like, hey, you ousted Wang Ji and everything like that. So, that would be actually interesting if Law joins up with the Cross Guild. Like, where are we going? Hachinosu. Oh, shit. But that could work because Law needs to rescue his crew, right? Like, Raw, you know, like, yeah, I'm like Scooby-Doo all of a sudden, yeah. You know, Raw needs to rescue his crew. It's like, Law needs to rescue his crew, and Jean Bart and Sachi and Penguin and everybody, where would they be taken? They would be taken to Hachinosu. So now Law might join the Cross Guild. He's like, listen, here's my stipulation. I'll join up with you, Clown God Buggy and Sword God Mihawk and Sand God Gara. I'll join up with you, Gara. But here's the thing. I don't care about Garp. I mean, he's Luffy's grandpa, I guess, but whatever. What does Law have to... I mean, maybe Law might feel a little bad about executing Luffy's grandfather or something like that. But ultimately, I think, look, Garp doesn't really involve me too much, you know, if that's why you're going to Hachinosu and stuff. But Blackbeard captured my crew. I need to get my crew back. All right, I want to get my crew back, and they can all work for you too. We can all work in the Cross Guild together, maybe. I know this might seem weird because Law, you know, if he's a captain, he doesn't want to do this. But Law's also very smart and tactical, and he might realize that, like, okay, I am in no position right now to be called a captain, considering what happened at Wiener Island. So, you know, I need, you know, some people to help me out here. So maybe they could work out some kind of agreement. But yeah, I mean, like, Cross Guild would be going to Hachinosu because that's where Garp is imprisoned. I don't see Blackbeard bringing them to the Cross Guild. I think because everybody needs to be coalesced together here. We need to start mobilizing everyone in one location to kind of get everybody together, right? So it's either Cross Guild's going to Hachinosu or Hachinosu groups like Blackbeard's crew is going to Karibari. But I guess it would make more sense for the Cross Guild to go to them, you know? So, and then maybe Law could be involved there, and, you know, Sachi Penguin and Jean Bart and everybody could be freed. It's possible. It's possible. Also, Jean Bart might be a buccaneer. Think about that for a moment. I don't know. Maybe he might be, because he was kind of relevant during, you know, Sabaody. Like, Law was like, I know about you, Jean Bart. I want you to be on my crew. So it's like, I don't know. Something interesting about Jean Bart's character there, okay? But yeah, what I'm saying basically, though, is wouldn't it be interesting to see Garp, you know, and he's imprisoned and being watched over by a bunch of pirates. Like, Aokiji is constantly there to make sure he stays frozen or chained up. They would freeze him and chain him up. You'd have to be smart when capturing Garp, right? And then maybe Krieg and Geen would also be there as, like, support. So, like, a bunch of people are watching Garp at all times. There is no way in hell Blackbeard is going to keep Garp imprisoned on his island without having at least one or two of the 10 Titanic captains keeping a watch on him at all times. Like, Aokiji basically would be his guard. Like, that would have to be the way it would work. Also, Pizarro has the island fruit, so he'd also be able to keep an eye on him, I guess. But yeah, I would like to see Geen and there just kind of like watching Garp and chatting with each other and seeing what they've been up to since, you know, since East Blue and stuff like that. That'd be interesting. What's going on with Smoker? You know, like Smoker was apparently heading to some location. I guess Smoker's probably going to head to the hospital because he was like, hey, Tashigi, where are you? And he's like, oh, we're at the hospital right now. He's like, okay. So he's on his smog hog and he's carrying a big giant crate of something with him. I still have no earthly idea what is in that crate. I don't think it's a poneglyph or something. Poneglyphs are way too freaking heavy to carry like that in the ocean. Maybe it's like sea prism weapons or something like that, or some extra material that he got from somewhere, because we haven't really seen Smoker since Punk Hazard, and then after that they were going to Vegapunk's laboratory. Maybe Vegapunk sent him on a mission or something, maybe, because the implication is, I guess, they were getting help for the kids from Punk Hazard, so maybe Vegapunk contacted Smoker and Tashigi and was like, hey, I have a job for Smoker, you need to go to this location and pick up some stuff for me. And Smoker's like, okay, and so he left Tashigi at G14 with Doll and everybody, and then Smoker went off to do a fetch quest, and now he's coming back with some shit. I don't know what it is, but we'll have to see. I think he's going to be showing up very soon. Let's see. Garp is in prison. Stussy, we still don't know what happened with her. I think she's with the Straw Hats on the Sunny or something. I don't think Stussy would just be like, oh, I'm still on Egghead. Well, you know, it would be interesting to either have Sentomaru or Stussy on Egghead still and protecting the Punk Records. Because if not, then the government's just going to get Punk Records. And York is still there too. So York is probably going to figure out a way to, like, you know, transport Punk Records to, like, Marijua or something. But I really want Stussy to hang out with the Straw Hats, considering all the character development she got in the last arc, right? So please have Stussy be on the Sunny somewhere. That's all I'm saying. Like, please. You know, that would be good. That would be great. Kobe is still in the hospital too. He had the declaration of like, I'm not gonna let Luffy. I'm sorry. I know you're my friend, but I'm not gonna let you get the One Piece. It's like other people have to get it. And we'll expand upon that. But yeah, I think Smoker's gonna show up at the hospital, and then the Marines are gonna get together. Maybe Sengoku and Suru, two other names I have written on here, because since Garp has been captured now, I think Sengoku and Suru, two of the closest friends of Garp that have joined the Marines together over 50 years ago, I think they would have something to say about that. Not to say that's like, all right, let's go rescue Garp now. Like, we all have to keep going back to Hachinosu. I don't think they're going to do that, but I want to see Sengoku and Suru getting involved here, especially since last time we saw them, they were in the dining hall learning about Garp's assault on Hachinosu, and like, oh no. And Suru is the great tactician, so she might have some, like, okay, this is how we're going to do this, okay? We're not just going to charge in like Garp and Galaxy fist the sky. We're going to come up with some other ideas here, okay? Also, Kujaku is Suru's granddaughter, so that would be a nice little family reunion if Sengoku and Suru all show up at the hospital. Kujaku is there, and then they have a reunion, and then Sengoku's there, and he explains the situation to Kobe and everybody, and we maybe learn a little bit more about Sword along the way. Drake is also in the hospital, and I know you guys are excited on Diaz Drake and what he's going to be doing. There's one guy, there's always one person in the crowd that's like, yeah, Drake, go. Don't worry. Okay, Drake will probably get something cool to do. All right, how about this? In the final war, Drake turns into an Allosaur, and he bites off. He turns into an awakened Allosaur. And who does he fight? Who does Drake fight? He can't fight somebody like super important, but he fights someone kind of important. He fights someone and he bites their head off with the Allosaur. And then it's like, Drake got a win. Let's go. So who could it be? Some guy, I don't know. You let me know in the comments below. Who's Drake's final opponent going to be? Maybe it's Apu. Maybe it's Scratchman Apu. He bites off Apu's head, and that's his big win. But whatever. All right. Anyway, that's the list of stuff that I wanted to bring up here. Of course, there are more characters in One Piece. Eneru's probably going to pop in sometime at somewhere. I don't know where, I don't know when. We were doing a live stream and we mentioned, like, what if, like, they go to the top of Yggdrasil, the top of the world tree at Elbaf, and then wow, we're on top of the world. Whoa, I can see the moon from here. And then Eneru comes down. He's like, yes, I have returned. It's like, no. That'd be fun. All right, well, anyway, that's about a good length of a video. That's a good 30-minute. That's a good short video. That's a good quick kind of video, a YouTube short for me. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This will be TechEgg signing out. Go to that end screen right now.